Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are finishing up the assembly of the pages for the Muckross house in Killarney National Park. And so this is going to be layout number 5 and 6. I know this is a lot of layouts for one home, but we just took so many pictures. I have condensed them as much as I possibly can, and I've used Peekaboo Pockets and all kinds of the ways to make it so that I only have to do these 6 layouts. So I hope that you are enjoying this and getting something out of it. We're going to be continuing to use Grand Times, which is the collection that came out in the fall quarter number 4 secret box from last year. And you know that because we've already cut all the pieces and power layouted it, and these are the last 2 layouts. And then the next video will have the addition of all the embellishments to all 6 layouts. This was the only way that I could make sure that I had all of the embellishments spread out evenly for all 6 layouts. So I hope that you're patient enough to, to understand why I have done it this way. But I'm excited to be finishing all of these and moving on to our next adventures in the park. There is just one more layout from Killarney National Park, and then we'll be moving on from there. This is exciting today. Today we're moving to below stairs in the Muckross house. I don't know if you are a fan of things like Downton Abbey and other turn of the century type stories, but I just really enjoy those, and I don't know what it is about them, but they're just fascinating to me. And so kind of exploring this house has been really fun. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the servants side of the home and how they functioned and how everything got done. And I was floored at the amount of space and the amount of just the number of kitchens and everything that were in this home were quite unbelievable. And the laundry, oh my gosh, the laundry room was amazing. So yeah, anyway, let's get to assembling these and we'll talk more about the photos as we get there. Let's check out my workspace. We'll get started. All right, we have 2 more layouts to put together, and then all 6 layouts will be done, and we can move on to embellishing. So let's check out the pieces of our layout number 4. Now remember, this says 5, but this is our layout number 4, and we are going to, I'm just going to move my photos out of the way over here. And I'm just going to separate pieces for right now. So we're going to need this piece for right here, this piece for right here. I've got a Peekaboo pocket, which we will be using eventually. We've got this mat that's going to go on. Got several, these are other mats that are going to go on eventually. They're going to go up there. For right now, these 2 stay on this side. This one goes on this side. Alright, we've got 2 base pages that we're going to use for this layout. Layout number 5. And they are this was the medium wood, the beige wood grain, and the navy. These look like little flowers, but and I think they're called navy. It's called the navy floral paper. So that makes sense. Those would be flowers. Okay, so this is how we're going to put this together. Okay, I think I just said or mentioned that we were going to use a 6x12 Peekaboo Pocket on this page, but I have changed my mind and we're going to do something a little bit different, which is going to require that I adjust a couple of things as we put this together. But I'm going to go ahead and move this page to the side over here. We'll get back to that in just a second. Let's go ahead and assemble the first page, the left-hand side of the layout. And I'm going to go ahead and use, by the way, I have my permanent and my repositionable adhesive out here, and my jumbo tape runner is about ready to have a refill put into it. So we'll see how far we can get with this one today before it needs a refill. But I've gotten a lot done with it, so I'm really pleased at how far the adhesive has lasted in that. It's worked really well. I hope you're enjoying your jumbo tape runner. If you have any issues with your jumbo tape runner and you haven't seen it already, be sure you check out my video on how to fix the roller if it gets jammed. There's a link up there in the corner for you to take a look at. Okay. We're going to take this punched piece, and this punched piece is centered over the edge of this side of that. All right. Okay, then we're going to add our photos. So I have already trimmed a couple of my photos to go in this mat. This mat is pre-cut and comes as part of the embellishment pack with this collection. So we are going to just add some adhesive right along the edge to hold on to it. I'm going to go right down the middle so we can get all three of those. And then we're going to just center this. And it can be a little bit tricky to do. I think this is going to be the best way. Go ahead and just lay that down over the top of the photo. And then that way it's centered. Okay, this is looking down from the top of the stairs, this is looking up. And these are the stairs that go down into the servants' quarters at the mansion. If you've ever watched Downton Abbey, this is below stairs. So if you're not a Downton Abbey fan, then I get it. But if you are a Regency era loving person, this is right up your alley. Definitely your speed. Okay, we're going to use these two mats to put on the next photos. And these photos, I just noticed I need to trim these photos to 3.5 by 5.5. So give me just a second. I'm going to use my trimmer here. We're going to go 3.5. And then we need them to be by 5.5. So we're going to trim these bells just like that bell. All right, so that one is good. This one, gonna go 3.5 and 5.5. All right, and then they've got something unique that they've added to this design, and we don't see it very much anymore, although some people really enjoy doing this with their photos, but I don't do it very often, and that is rounding the corners. So you'll notice how this mat has rounded corners. They have continued that with the mats and the photos. So I'm just going to take a second and round all the corners on these photos. And the mats. All right. Now, our layout has 2 vertical photos like this. It's designed with 2 vertical photos. But these photos that I have are horizontal. So we're going to play with this layout just a little bit so that we can make this work, because I don't want to have to cut them any more than we've already trimmed them. Okay, these you might notice if you are a fan of Regency era films or books, then you'll be familiar with the bell system. They had lots of servants, sometimes more servants than they had family members, and they had the ability to notify the servants that they were needed in a given room by simply pulling a long cable that often hung near the doors in each room, and that would ring these bells below stairs and let the servants know what room the help was needed in. And so then they would be able to be more efficient and come up and find out what was needed and help. But look at all the bells. There were like 30 of them or more. It was pretty cool. And you can see they're all labeled. This one says South Best Bedroom. This one says Dressing Room. This one says North Best Bedroom. So it's kind of cool. All right. Now let's put together the right side. Oh, we need to put this on our page as well, so let's do it. All right, this blue strip, the navy strip is going to go towards the center of the layout, right up against the jeeping. Okay, so just like that. And then this side is the one that's going to have a little bit of modifications, a little more modifications to it. So let's see, we've got our base page is that, again, that navy floral. Then we're going to take this striped bit right here, remember this piece was 3 by 12. This is going to go right up the right hand side of the paper, right along the edge. Okay. Then this piece, my goodness, we're moving furniture upstairs or something. This piece is going to go right along the edge of the striped bit. And this punched piece is going to go up the seam right here, right between the striped piece and the, I want to call this argyle. I don't know what this pattern is. I know it has a name. I'm just not remembering. And I think I asked if somebody knew what that was to let us know. But I'm recording this before the other videos are being posted, so even if you suggested it to me at that point in time, I would not know it right now. So I apologize. Alright, so these 3 mats that we have are going to also need to have their corners rounded so that they match everything. And I can do all 3 at the same time, but it does take, I don't know if it's because my strength is a little bit not great since my surgeries last year, or if it's just the fact that there's 3 papers. It takes both of my thumbs to do it. Alright. Doing it at the same time still is less time consuming though. Okay, so I have this photo that's going to go in here, and this photo needs to be trimmed just a little bit because again it needs to be a 3.5 by 5.5. So I'm going to trim it this way. And probably here. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. And so does Maggie.
Hi, Maggie. Maggie, want to help me? I don't think you're going to be able to help me too much. You're sniffing? Figuring it out? Yeah? Yeah? We should have you on camera so you can say hi in the introduction.
Maggie?
Oh.
You should always introduce Maggie.
I should always introduce Maggie. Indeed.
She deserves it.
She's the star.
You are the coach.
Alright, so I'm just clipping the corners on this one photo that's going to get its own alignment here. Its own mat. This is a photo of one of the kitchens. There was more than one area that I would call a kitchen in this mansion. And lots of prep areas in this. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and put that photo right about there. Now, these other 2 mats are actually gonna, I think, go on top of each other like this. And the reason is because we're going to do a waterfall of Peekaboo Pockets. And if you've never seen that done before, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to demonstrate for you here, but I'm going to try, okay? So first of all, I'm going to take these 2 mats and I'm going to layer them on top of each other. They were supposed to be horizontal mats, as you can see here in the sample that was drawn up for us. They were going to be horizontal mats, which would have been fine, but I have 5 Peekaboo Pockets plus a photo at the end, and that's just, I don't have enough room for that. So we're going to, I'm gonna just turn my mats and layer them on top of each other. Try to give them the same amount of space at the top as they have at the bottom. And then we are going to layer these and I'm going to leave just a little bit of that bottom mat showing. Underneath this photo. These are travel trunks that they used to use when they would go and visit other places. And then we'll have this photo mounted just above that. And this is of one of the stoves in one of the kitchens. And here you can see a prep area and the ovens, these ovens right here, and the stove that's next to it. This is that stove. And then this was a different kitchen altogether, different room. And you can see all the copper pots. And this was a huge mortar and pestle. This was the thing that they used to grind the seeds and things up with. And there is just a more close-up view of some of the containers that they kept spices and different things in. Okay, so that one will go there. This is the stove that was in the larger kitchen. Stove, and I believe this was where they would build the fire underneath. There's that mortar and pestle that they had over in the corner. There's another one showing the copper pots. And this table was covered in tiles, so they could put hot things down on it without needing, a hot pad or anything like that, which I thought was very smart. And here's a better view of the prep tables and things. Hard to see with the glare from my lights. Sorry about that. And then this is the kitchen, the very first kitchen that we came across as we were in the tour, and there was a fireplace and some seats. I'm not sure. I'm sure this must have been like the servant dining hall or something like that, because it was right before all of the kitchens and the other servant areas. So that's going to be a bit of a waterfall of Peekaboo Pockets coming down there on that page. And this layout is as done as I can make it until we get to embellishing. But let's go ahead and, it still needs to be attached to this page, but I will get to that. Let's go ahead and do the last layout, layout number 6. And then we will be good to go next time with embellishments. Okay. So actually I'm going to leave that page over there. Okay, let's go ahead and separate the pieces of this layout for layout number 6. Okay, we've got our two base sheets are the navy wood paper, the navy wood grain paper. Okay, so those are going to be there. And we've got the 9 by 9 inch gray plaid square and the 9 by 3 inch piece that go on those two papers, or 2 pages. And then we've got, this is a 9 by 6 inch piece that goes here, and a 6 by 3 inch piece that goes here. And we've got a couple of mats that will be on the left-hand side of the layout, and we've got our 2 punched pieces that start on this page and end on this page. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll get those put together. I'm going to turn my wood grain so that it's going horizontal, and then that will make it much easier for us to center this piece, which is 3 by 9. Alright, so I'm just going to line up my paper on my grid on my mat. There we go. And then that enables me to place this at 1.5, so that I have a 1.5 inch border at the top and a 1.5 inch border at the bottom. Just like that. Then we're going to take this piece and this is going to be centered here. Alright, so this is going to be 3 inches from the edge on either side. And so you can see here I'm off by just a tiny bit, but I think that was my cut rather than the way I laid that down. It'll be alright. Okay, so then we're going to take our punched pieces and we're going to take the lighter side of these, and that's going to be the piece that we see. And we're going to lay this down over the top of this blue paper. And down here over the bottom edge. Okay, then we're going to get our precision point scissors, and we're just going to trim those off carefully. Like that. Gonna set those to the side. Don't get rid of those if you're doing this along with me. Okay, so this side is ready for photos. Let's do the other side. Okay, so the 9 inch square is going to get centered just like we centered the other one. So I'm going to line this up on my mat on my table, and then I just want to make sure if there's anything I need to line up. No, I think it's the same either direction, so not to worry. Okay, so we're going to do 1.5 inches from the top and 1.5 inches from the bottom. And then this one is 3x6 piece. We'll get centered over here. And right up against the plaid paper, okay? So just like that. Then we're going to take these pieces, and these pieces are going to go right along the edge, just as if our plaid paper was laid down on top of these, like they'd gone all the way across the page. All right, so here is the 2-page layout. Let's check and see now again. Oh, that's not the layout we're doing, it's this one. We've got 3 mats we can use. These are going to be here and here and here. And no mats on this side. This side is just cut 4x4 cut photos. 4 4x4 photos. Okay, so let's take a look at our photos and how we're going to lay those out. All right, time for pictures. So I've got my photos all ready to go. I need to get my mats down. So let's go ahead and I'm just gonna adhere these mats real quick so they're in the right place. This is roughly 3/4 of an inch from the inside edge and probably almost 3/4 of an inch, maybe more like 5/8 above this center square. Hopefully that helps you place those. And then this is going to be just slightly below, maybe 1/4 of an inch in between. And that will give a similar border. It's not exact, but it's close. And close is okay with me today. All right, and then this one's going to be centered right in the middle as much as we can. In between, so that the blue border all the way around is as even as we possibly can make it. Okay, so that's going to be how our mats are going to go down. Now, we are, again, I'm needing to use quite a few Peekaboo Pockets for this. So let's just go through the photos, shall we? So this photo is going to be on the base. They had, towards the end of the tour, just before we got to or just after the linen area, which I'll show you in, that's going to be part of a larger Peekaboo Pocket we're going to do. They had these wonderful little windows where, I don't know if those were built in before or if they built those in for the purposes of showing the house or where that actually came from, but they had everything from sports equipment like you see here to, you're going to see some photos we're going to do on this side of the layout that show a lot more of the things that were on display in those areas. This was an area where it looked like they washed dishes. That looked like a major dishwashing sink that had, seen its day. This was a bicycle that was on display, and then kind of a memory board system on the wall there, which was pretty cool. So this is going to be the base of our Peekaboo, and I'm still trying to decide if I want to do a Peekaboo that folds out or if I want to just do a sort of modified waterfall with these, but you can see they've got a homemade ice cream maker here, the hand crank kind. That's the kind that I grew up with, or the kind that you cranked your own, not just plugged it into an outlet and let it go. But we chipped our own ice and we cranked our own ice cream every summer. And then these weighs and measures over here, over in Europe in general, but I think in the British Isles specifically, they when they bake and things like that, they bake by measurement. They don't bake by like we bake by adding 3 cups of flour. They bake by adding 120 grams of flour. Like they weigh it instead of measuring it. I guess that's the best way to put it. So this scale was a pretty important thing to have in the kitchen. These spots were also pretty important to have in the house. You have water pitchers and bowls for washing your face. And then you have chamber pots down here on the bottom and a bath for a baby. So kind of cool. Chamber pots, of course, before they got indoor plumbing. Then this is the cellar, so when they wanted to keep things cold, they had a really super thick door right here that you can see it's super wide, extra wide right here. And that would close to keep the cool air inside. And then all the shelves in here were made of brick, and so the brick would retain the coolness. And so they would keep things like wine or cheese or butter, that kind of thing, in the larder, I think is what they refer to that as. Anyway, so that, oh, and there's a closer photo of inside. So kind of cool. And then this was a picture of the shoes that they used to wear. See how pointy they are? Excuse me. I don't think that my feet would have been particularly comfortable in the footwear that they donned in this era. So kudos to all those ladies who had to endure all those pointy toes. And then this photo that's going down here on the bottom is kind of the rest of the little repair area. So the servants of the house would have been expected to repair clothing and shoes as much as possible, shine them and get them ready for the owners to be able to wear. This is an example of where they would have kept like riding crops and things to help with the horses. This is I can't remember what they called it, but it's a special piece that they would use, I believe, for women who were riding side saddle. So that was an addition that was supposed to make riding side saddle more comfortable. I don't know that it did that, but anyway. All right, and this is my cute cousin who was teasing about the cooler and how they seemed like there was a lot of alcohol in there. And so she was making fun of that. The way we all laughed. She was being very silly. Okay, now on this side of the layout, we're going to do some 4x4 photos. But I had a bunch of photos I wanted to have represented that didn't necessarily, I couldn't necessarily cut them into a 4x4 shape. So I cut them into a 2x4 shape and combined them. Can you see how that's two different pictures? And I just thought that that would be a way, if you don't have Peekaboo Pockets or you don't like the bulk that sometimes comes with using Peekaboo Pockets, maybe you could do something like that as well. And just cut your photos in such a way that you're able to use more of them. And then this one is of the pretty dishes that they would use. So these were, again, in these cute little window-like cabinets, which I thought were just really cool. And so if you have photos you're using that can be cut into 4x4, then that's what you would need for this layout. You would need, for this side of the layout, 4x4 photos. Or you could use 4-inch Peekaboo Pockets also. I just decided that this time around I was not going to do that. So, just something different. Alright, so in these photos, just to run you through these as well, it looks like that feels crooked to me, so I may have to go back and lift those up and fix them. These are some oil lamps that they had shown, and these were water spritzers. And then in here we have silverware. My grandma used to keep her silver in a box, a special box like this, which was super neat. In fact, I think I have it upstairs. And then just some other special boxes with knives and things like that in them, and then decanter water bottles. You've got what I believe is a fish basket, like when they went fishing, they would throw the fish in there. And then binoculars. My dad had binoculars. We have some too, but they are a bit more sophisticated than these. But my dad's had a really nice little case like that too. Very cool. And the beautiful tableware plates and things like that. Super cool. Okay, in addition to this bit, we're also going to put together a 6x12 Peekaboo pocket that will go here on the very end of the layout. And so I'm going to just move this off my workspace here real quick so that we can put together that Peekaboo pocket. I just realized something as I was looking at my patterns, and these two 12-inch stickers are meant to go right here, and I did not get that done, so I'm going to do that here really quick. So we're just going to start up here, and we're going to place this right on the edge of that 9-inch square, and I'm going to just start from there and work to my way to the center, and then I'm going to use my precision point scissors. Sure I am. Come on, you gotta come off. There we go. Had my scissors in there backwards. Have you ever done that? They're very hard to get out if you put them in there backwards. Just word to the wise. I seem to do it frequently. Okay, so that piece is going to go right there, and then we're going to put a little piece of this underneath this photo. And so I'm just going to grab my multi-purpose tool and pop up that photo real quick so that I can then add this in on this page. So we have that continuity there. And we're going to do the same thing down here at the bottom. and then I'm going to take this last piece, and we won't use all of it because it won't fit, but I'm going to place this one on the bottom edge. Oh, that's a little too close. There, that's better. And remember, this is the piece, or the one that I need to adjust these photos because they didn't quite go on. Stay down there. They're kind of crooked, which is bugging me, so I will fix that. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll put this one, this little bit that's extra, maybe we'll put that right in here so that we don't not use it, you know what I mean? I think I'll do that. All right. And then I'm going to come in here and fix these photos because this one in particular is not straight. So we'll make it straight. And I think I'm gonna have to play with this for a little bit. Anyway, it'll all look nice by the time it is done. Do you hear that little duck noise? That's Maggie. My sister bought her a stuffed animal that makes duck noises. It is pretty cute, and she really likes it. Whoa! You're okay, babe. Okay, we're just gonna... Do you see how you can see the spots right here? That's a good, that is indicative of the repositionable adhesive. Repositionable adhesive can pick up the color off of your page, so just be aware that sometimes it can remove the color from the printed paper when you put it on. Doesn't always do it, but sometimes. So I decided that I just want this to be photos, so I'm hoping I don't have to trim my photos very much. I have 6 4x6 photos and then an additional Peekaboo pocket we're going to add to the outside. And when you are using edge-to-edge photos, I don't feel like you need a base piece of paper, but to keep my photos from shifting around and to keep me from having to adhere them to the Peekaboo pocket, I'm just going to adhere them to a strip. And I'm going to just put a little bit of adhesive in each area so that I can center my photos and have them not move around inside the Peekaboo pocket. Okay, so at the very end of our tour, we were able to go and see the laundry, and I don't know how many people you've had to do laundry for in your home, but consider this. It probably wasn't as many people as they had to do in a home like this. All of the linens that were used on all of the tables and all of the, I don't know, just a lot. I just imagine it was just a lot. So I am centering these photos and adhering them down so that I can then flip this over and adhere 3 more on this side. Okay. This, I'm going to make it match the photo on the back of it. I'm going to try anyway to make it match the photo on the back of it. As we exited the home, this is what the back of it looked like. And we went into a tiny little gift shop that they had that was adorned with these pretty flowers. And I thought it would be fun to go ahead and add on some receipts from that. I bought Haley a super darling little hat that, okay, let's see, how are you wanting this? This is going to be attached this way, and I want to see this on top. Sounds like somebody just got home from work. Probably Emily. Alright. There we go. So just going to slide this in. And then we are just about finished. And we'll be ready to do embellishments next time around. Alright, so there's that. And then this little Peekaboo pocket will be added here to the front. It just has a receipt from the hat that we bought for Haley, and then this is a tag off of a wallet that I bought at another location, but you can see it's from the Muckross weavers, which is, I believe, related to this house, the Muckross house. So kind of cool. Alright, so you'll see when we do the flip through of this album, you'll get to see how this all came together, and how this looks attached to the pages. It's hard to do until the journaling's done and the page protectors are on the pages. So thanks so much for bearing with me. This has been a fun little mini-series. I hope you like it. We have one more episode to go where we're going to do all of the embellishments for all 6 pages at the same time so that we can make sure that they're evenly dispersed. And yeah, so we use it all. Thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. We'll see you again.